Good evening and welcome to this week's Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton Geoffrey here with Adam Ross as usual. Adam, how you doing this week?
I'm all right. Clint. Quick. Yeah, let's get off to the start of the show, and then I'll tell you my quick
Well,
humorous story. It's not the time.
we got a big problem. You've changed your seating around. Decker's
I
not going to
had
be in
to.
the show anymore. Does that mean he's not getting a pay cut? That he's not getting a pay this week? What's going on?
Decker, here, bud. He's in his dog bed right beside me. That's part of what I wanted to talk about. My wife has a problem, and her problem is Amazon's opportunity because she has bought a lot of stuff. We're redecorating. The colors are all different. There's a lot of new furniture around here. Can you see over my shoulder on that little rack behind us the planter?
I do.
That weed. Yeah, she didn't realize it was only 3 inches tall when she bought it. She bought it off Amazon thinking it would look great in the corner, this nice significant planter, and it
Hey,
is
time
about
out.
the
She
size
had
of
the
a.
same buyer's remorse about you.
You're not kidding.
She thought
I'm
it was
still
more than
sitting
three
here
inches.
just her mistake.
Um, we have some great guests coming on the show tonight, and we welcome everybody hanging with us. Share it if you can. We're going to welcome Bruce Mellenbacher with us to the show, and we'll talk about how we got reconnected with Bruce. I've been talking to him a little bit on the side, and man, he's touched everything here in Ontario, from the drags to Hugo to a lot of stuff back in the day. So it'd be good to have Bruce on to connect up for a few minutes. Also, Dale Shaw, last week's trivia answer, has come on the show to talk to us this week. So we'll have Dale Shaw on shortly as well. So to talk about his upcoming season and the choices he'll make
Is
for
this
racing this year.
is this week's trivia answer going to be next week's guest?
Could be.
Maybe
I thought about that. It could work that way, but
we could make the answer Weber Valley and have Greg Callan on the show next week.
well, I can let the cat out of the bag. This week's quick wit trivia, and with my new mouth, it's just hard to say. You got to deliver that for the next couple weeks. I had some dental surgery this week, so I'm learning to speak again. So pardon with me if I slur a little bit tonight or whistle a little bit too much. Let's talk about that. So this week's trivia question, the quick wit trivia.
It's the quick wit trivia. Forgot
I
you
needed it. I
can't
needed it.
stumble through it.
My
Like
lips don't work
yeah.
around the teeth yet. So let's talk about that could work, because this week's question is about Jordan Poirier, but it's a stat about Jordan Poirier. So we could have Jordan on the show next week. Both will be timely guests. And if you haven't noticed the pattern, we're promoting the series that we'll be promoting this summer out on the tours with the Pinty's Knights of Thunder Action Sprint Tour, and also the APC Late Models and the Quick Super Stocks.
I haven't been watching the chat, but I do want to acknowledge it's nice to see Julie Martin back. Long time viewer, but she's been missing in action a little bit the last month or so. But I do love the fact that voice text sucks. I did not mean porn drops for my car. And I missed the comment she made where she was talking about porn drops for her car. So I'm going to have to go back and search the chat.
It says her ear. Dave Lloyd from Quick Wit says maybe we need a new trivia contest name. I think it gets you a lot of press, Dave, that we trip over it 300 times a week. So if you want to swap it up, we can. Thanks for watching, though, by the way.
Q-Dub.
What's that?
Quick. Q-Dub. The
Q-Dub.
Q-Dub Trivia Challenge. Quick wit.
I know. It looked good on the page when we made it, but we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, but we're going to start the show off on a bit of a somber note. Adam, tragic news came out this afternoon. I saw Bob Pockras was the first one to share it and put it up there, Spencer. The David Gilliland racing team, the ARCA team, on the way to Phoenix. Sad news from Texas Highway Patrol. David Gilliland Racing hauler driver Steven Stotts was pronounced dead at the scene this afternoon. Passengers John Zaveri and Michael Mazzell are in stable condition. Driver of the other vehicle involved is in stable condition as well. They were taking the ARCA car to Phoenix. And man, Adam, just crazy. You look at it, obviously hard into the barrier, caught fire. just a tragic day, a sad day for sure.
I think we can almost celebrate the fact that 3 other people involved in that crash survived the crash. It is terrible. And Clint, we only chatted about it briefly today. This sort of thing happens once every year or two. And it
Yeah,
makes big news. You don't realize, like, through social media and television coverage, you don't realize the number of miles these teams haul to get to events. Like, most of them are based on the East Coast. They're crossing the country, East Coast to West Coast, and back again, and putting in the miles. I remember a few years ago, it was James Hilton going home from a race with his son. They
yeah,
were both killed in a traffic accident. Um, just amazing. And as I say, the reason I mention that is it just brings up the focus on safety. And who knows what happened? I'm sure there'll be an investigation, but just remember
yeah.
these are things that we do for fun.
To add to what you said there, it's a lot like airplanes. You have one go down once a year and everybody's in panic. But do you realize how many planes are actually flying around every day? Like, the safety record is immensely good when you look at the sheer percentages of planes in the air to ones that actually have issues. So, obviously, our thoughts and go down south to all those guys. We'll keep some up here for our boy Shrek. He lost his uncle today, who was a competitor at Varney and Full Throttle Motor Speedway. So, thoughts out to you, Shrek, one of our regulars here, and Shrek's struggling a bit today, so we want to send those thoughts out to him as well. Um, Adam, the next topic we have is racing is under attack, and where it comes from that. And I'm just going to set it up a bit because I want to discuss it back. Our first guest is here, so we'll jump into Dale Shaw. But I want the fans and the viewers to kind of think about this and bring up your own opinions. Where it came to me, and this is a random thought we had together. Racing is under attack. Our sport's under attack. How will we survive? Whether it's COVID, the war over in the other side, affecting all these other problems, gas prices, material shortages. Our sport's really under attack. So let's talk about that. We want the viewers to give their thoughts on that. And also, are the racing fans ever happy? We're going to talk about NASCAR and how, fans want things, they give it to them. And, we want short tracks and more routes. Well, not that short track and not those routes, so they
Well,
can't
and
seem to do it.
I listened to some NASCAR radio on the weekend, and they talked about, and I want to ask some of these questions to Dale Shaw because he has a lifetime. His life is invested in racing because he is a racing family. Um, there was talk about turning California into a half-mile short track, Auto Club Speedway, and the one crew chief said that would be the worst thing NASCAR could do. That's one racetrack where we can actually go out and race on a big track, and there's lots of lines, lots of things the driver and the crew chief can do together in good quality racing. And I worry that that's the panic reaction that we sometimes see. That's why we had all those 1.5 mile, 2 mile super speedways built, because Charlotte got popular, and all of a sudden that's the mold for everyone to build something. So I think sometimes there's an overreaction. Point being, don't listen to the fans and don't listen to the drivers. If you want to be successful, and Clint, you know this, you're a promoter. You cannot listen to you have to listen to everybody,
Yeah.
but don't just like if you imagine how your world would be if you listened to everything I suggested to you. You have to use your common sense. You want a lot of different sources. Racers, it's just I wish I could articulate better. But if you
No,
want to
you're
build a
absolutely right.
successful series, it's just they're not the best people to tell you because they're emotional.
Let's bring Dale Shaw on while I finish this thought. You're absolutely right. Adam, I had the same talk with Mary in the past at Oshweeka's front gate. She'd say, everybody's upset. And I'm like, Mary, 3 people out of 2,000 isn't everybody. That's 2 people that stood up and voiced. Same thing we were talking with the crate sprint builders last night. We had an engine symposium, and we told them the same thing. Look, we have 2 guys out there asking for MSD boxes. One of the tracks saying everybody wants MSD box. Well, 2 out of 70 is not everybody. Those are the 2 that are vocal enough to put their opinion out there. Dale, welcome to the program. Dale Shaw, APC racer, as we know him most recently. Dale, welcome back. We tried to get you on the program last week as you were our trivia question answer. And here you are this week. Last week we're hanging bodies. What are you up to this week?
Still working. You guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, still working. We're this has probably been the craziest kind of winter for us, Shaw Motorsports. We've man, the phone's been ringing off the hook, and we've been really busy. So
I didn't even know, Clinton. I meant to talk a little bit about this. I didn't know Dale was going to be on the show tonight, but not a word of lie. Dale and his father were in my dream last night. And I
oh,
don't
Wow.
know how much farther I want to go with that, but at some point this season, Dale, I'm going to tell you about that dream. Uh, it was surreal. It ended with my wife waking me up and asking me if I was okay.
so funny story. That happens a lot in my household too. Like, there's a lot of nights. I know. I can think of a couple years ago. I know 2015 when we were running for the championship, won the championship. I remember there was nights where I would be like out of bed, standing there, and my wife would be looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" So you're not the only one, Adam.
We'll have to talk. We have that. I've got stories over the years of places I have woke up like, why am I here and why am I holding the TV up that's on the wall, like mounted to the wall? Anyhow, but I digress. It's good to see you, Dale. It was good to see him in my dream too. It was very pleasant, so that's a good thing. But why? Why are you so busy this offseason? What is going on with racing? Because we've seen it. We saw big crowds last year, and I have no reason to believe that things aren't going to be even more popular this year. And it goes on both sides of the fence, the fan side and the racer side. Why do people have the itch so much that they're all wanting to get out there?
I have no idea. Like I know I've watched the 3 or 4 cup races so far this year. Stands are packed. I talked to part suppliers; they can't keep up. Along, obviously, part of it's the shortage, but one of my part suppliers I deal with a lot says they've built more cars this year than they've ever built. They've sold more parts than they've ever sold. I think it comes down to, I know like my family, especially the last kind of 2 years, we've all been in hiding a little bit and just taking it easy, being smart. And I think people want to go right now, and people want to race, and people want to go places. And just on a side note, my stepmom has a cottage that has like a rental property attached to it, and she is now selling weekends they've never rented out before. People just want to go places, they want to do stuff, right? So I think it's good for racing. I don't think racing is under attack. I was listening to that part. In my humble opinion, and I have no way to prove it, I have no math, I have no numbers, and I'm not too into the financial side of racing, obviously with racetracks and stuff like that. But I think racing is the healthiest, I can remember it being. And I would dare say, with the APC tour and stuff like that, we might see car counts upwards in numbers we've seen a couple years ago. So I don't know if I agree with racing is under attack. I think part of it, and actually Alex Nagy and I were just talking on Facebook, I think a lot of it is what you read on the internet. And the worst thing you can do is sit and read. Twitter is probably the worst, and Facebook's right there with it. But if you sit and read that stuff all day, you'll believe racing's under attack. And if you talk to people, inside of whether it's chassis builders, racers, I don't know about track owners, because that's probably the worst job in Ontario, to be a track owner. I would never do that. You couldn't pay me enough to do that. But I think racing is just as healthy as it's ever been.
There's a lot of buzz on the go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
I've
think
got.
Dale,
Do you want to?
go ahead, Adam.
Do you
I was
want to
gonna
hear
re-
my theory on that and why racing is under attack and why do we think the fans are happy? And my boss says this to me. He says, Adam, he says, you're going to spend in a successful sales career, you're going to spend 80% of your time on 20% of your people.
Yeah,
The other
that's fair.
80% of the people, they just roll through, and that's what racing is. Those are the people that show up each and every week. We don't see them on the internet, Clinton. We don't see them padding the numbers of our viewership through the winter. But we see them in the summer when the races come on. We see them in the stands. They're just going to be there. You're still going to spend your 80% of your time on that 20% of the people who need to be worked with. They're the vocal minority. And that's where the gravy is. That's where the success is. No different than building race cars, Dale. Most of your time is spent on the fine details, which is where
Yep.
you're going to find more speed than the next guy. The rest is frame rails and roll cage tubing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
Yeah, my thoughts there, Dale, was, obviously this is clickbait topics we put up to try and grab
Mm-hmm.
some viewers, but
Yep.
racing under attack, I think the point of it was, it should have another line that says, but we're going to be okay. and probably even stronger than we were before COVID. And it's true. I fully believe that we are stronger, more resilient. We're going to come back bigger, better, stronger. I mean, even the weak tracks are going to be rebounding on the plus side, I think. All I meant by that is, Dale, you guys have to go to the track. It's no secret whether you're driving pavement or dirt, there's a big tire shortage going to be again this year, even more than last year. Prices of gas are through the roof, so to tow your hauler from here to Sauble is going to suck balls, or out for you out to Peterborough. That's going to be a long ass tow. That's going to suck. Supply chain issues, we're in the parts selling business at GSR too, and I mean, I've never said it's on back order more than I have, in the past 3 months, and that's all we meant by it. I mean, we're going to be all right, but wow, it's going to take extra effort for our teams to make it there and just get there. Even a fan, you're going to pick and choose how many nights you want to go out because gas is through the roof. Hopefully the government steps in and takes some action, but that's all we're going. But Dale, let's talk about it. Why are we so good? Why are, is it the rebound? Is it we just need to get out? Is it that I tend to take the theory that racing is like anything? It's ebb and flow. It's like a wave. Some weeks you're going to have, some years you'll have 10 mini stocks, next you'll have 30, and it just kind of goes through the ranks as people move up and come and go. Is that where we are? What's going on?
I completely agree with you, of the, wave theory. We see that a lot kind of close to home here too. Like this winter with our rental program, I've probably gotten more calls this year than I've gotten the last 3 years put together. And I think right now the late model division is kind of put into a bit of a corner because prices have gotten a little bit high with certain things in Ontario. But I think the biggest thing we have going for us is, and this is just speaking personally and speaking with my customers and stuff like that, is we haven't been able to do a ton of racing the last couple of years, which bodes well for this year because it's I don't know if it's as simple as the bank account has more in it now than what it would have had if we raced the last 2 years, but it just seems to me like people just want to do stuff right now. And I think it's a good thing.
I think people are realizing that life can be short. You don't know when it can be taken from you either. I think savings are going to start to dwindle because people want to live. I've lived by that Clinton for years. And I think race car expenditures is probably right up there on that list, Dale.
Well, I heard your son is a little hard on equipment, maybe. He had a few tough nights last year from what I've read. I don't get out to Flamborough as much as I used to, but I was there a couple of nights this year. And I mean, we've all been there. I remember my first year, in the 4-cylinder stuff, I wrecked my first 3 nights and I didn't get a feature until my 3rd night. So, but yeah, let's just say my savings account, my race car allotment is a lot higher than my savings account. So I'm with you, Adam.
Dale, let's talk about what the plans are for you. Obviously, you're talking about customers. Maybe you want to let us know who you're helping out, who you're building cars for. What's your plans for the year?
Yeah, so man, it's been a pretty cool winter. I'm pretty excited. Unfortunately, we're probably 2 weeks away. I should have put you off for about 2 weeks before I could really do some announcing and stuff. But the plan is we're probably going to have 3 cars out of my shop this winter, at least 2 full-time. Last year was obviously myself full-time, and then the second car was there most nights. Now we're working on a 3rd car. Probably likely going to have 4 shod cars at most races in the APC series. Looking at hopefully a car running regular nights at Sunset. Have had some interest in that. And yeah, it's been a cool winter. We're working our tails off. Like last week you text me and we work 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. if not later, 7 days a week right now, just trying to get cars ready and stuff like that. And it's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna probably do any of the regular night stuff or maybe beat the heat, something like that, but I'll probably just stick to the tour this year just because we're so busy with our other cars and people wanting to race and trying to keep the rest of our cars up front, which is kind of the key to everything, right?
The fun thing, Dale, about you and your family is that you're still so in love with racing. You're still such a race fan. I want to go completely off topic for a second because you've been doing it as long as you could stand. Well, before that, you were at the races. What is your favorite era in racing? Like, what's your favorite moment where you realize this is what I want to do forever?
It's funny. I went through a stretch. I had some kind of tough times in my personal life there in about 2016, 2017, 2018. Kind of slowed down the racing in 17 and 18, and I became a crew guy again. started working on cars, started going to Oswego regularly, helping my buddy Ryan, and ended up helping my buddy Danny at Sunset regular nights, and that kind of grew my love for racing. Like racing's a grind. It's not easy. You know, there's weekends where you think you got everything set. You think car's perfect. You go for practice, awesome, and then you go for qualifying, and you're 24th, and you can't explain it. And I know, Adam and I have had conversations. He'll come up to me after practice, and he'll just ask me a simple question: "You good or you're not?" And I'll tell him either I am or I'm not. So, but my favorite era in racing, I don't know. Like we had a lot of fun back in would be my 4-cylinder days. So now I'm getting old. 2009, 2010, 2011. Back then we had 40 cars a night, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of good group of racing. But I'm kind of enjoying right now at the same time. I feel like my knowledge bank is the biggest it's ever been, and I just feel going to the racetrack, I feel confident that our cars are going to run good. So probably my favorite era, to be honest, is right now, just because of my confidence.
Dale, we see your team at the track, obviously not the flashiest. You're not the most flamboyant driver, just calmly, quietly doing your thing. How do you see yourself in the ranking of the drivers out there? Is that a fair, accurate, perception of your team?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we probably do more with kind of less than most people, but that's just the way I was brought up. I was brought up to, you got to work for what you got, you know what I mean? And we've never had, the big sponsor, and I've just kind of worked my tail off the last couple of years to be able to do it. If we can't do it, we don't race as much, and kind of as simple as that. But in terms of, and I guess the main question was ranking of drivers, and this is what I always tell people. I would like to say I'm probably one of the least talented racers in Ontario, but I just try and outsmart people. I try and beat you before we get to the racetrack. I want to have the perfect race car, and I try and, put together the perfect race car to go out and beat people, because I know there's guys like Brandon Watson, Matt Britico, they can drive circles around me, and I will always admit that. I will always be really honest with you. But my goal and my job is to kind of outsmart people. And back in the day, I used to be really good at kind of showing it out of nowhere and, ride around and being there at the end. And that's something I think we got to get back to in 2022, because that's when the paychecks come out. You know what I mean?
So this is perfect that you brought this up, because I'm not even going to acknowledge that you don't think that you're as talented as a Matt Pritico, and that's fine. Like that's your mindset. But Clinton, this goes exactly to what I was talking about earlier on when you and I were talking about Kyle Busch. Talent is one thing, but racing pays the winner. The person who finishes first, the person running first on the last lap, is the one that takes home the trophy, no matter what else happens. It's about racecraft, and there's a big difference between being a good race car driver and being a winner. So, Clint, can we jump ahead to the Kyle Busch type conversation? And the reason we say this, Dale, is for the whining that Kyle Busch was doing. And gotta love Kyle Busch. Thank goodness we have a villain saying Alex Bowman backs into all his wins. Guess what? I'd rather be the guy who backs into wins, because it's all situations that Alex Bowman and his crew chief put themselves in to be able to run. I would rather run that phenomenal the last 2 laps of a race, and go across the line with my middle finger out the window at Kyle Busch saying, "You keep leading the first 265 laps, dickhead. This is what I do."
Spencer, throw it up, and Dale can rebuttal it. This is a tweet that came out this week. It was Dylan Welch shared it and said it was Kyle Busch who first said, "Kyle Busch reaction to Bowman winning. The same effing guy who wins every effing week at every foot gets backs into another effing win." Bullshit. Yeah. So basically, he's saying he backed in. I don't know if you saw today, Alex Bowman put out charity shirts saying backing it in. Backing into wins or something, and they made the best of it. But Dylan Welch says, "I don't really get this. His crew chief made the right call. Then Alex raced the best race all time the best of all time head to head, and beat him. He earned this one. He beat Larson on the last restart to go for it. That's one thing that frustrates me. But while we're on the topic of Busch, let's just run the other video that we got, Spencer, and then we'll talk about it all. This is him complaining about the cars, Dale. And I mean, as a sanctioning body who's trying new cars, they got to be so pissed. I mean, you can't take action against them, but I mean, we need personality points in racing sometimes to keep a dickhead from him from ruining the
Now,
sport. And that's my opinion.
is he
Show
talking?
it, Spencer.
I know you
He's
didn't
bitching
have
about the
time in your
cars.
primary, but how
Yeah.
was that car considering all the work that had to be done on it today?
It was fine. They're all the same. They're bought at Walmart.
Now, that's
Now, is he
insult to
talking
your
about the
crew,
car?
your team. Yeah, he's saying the
Is he
cars are all
talking
the
about the
same.
car? No, wait a second. Does he mean the car he raced Sunday or the car that he crashed on Friday? Which one was the one he didn't like? Because I think there was 36 drivers there on the weekend, and I think 31 or 30 of them got through practice without destroying a race car. Kyle Busch wasn't one of them. You want to talk about backing into things? Let's talk about a champion who missed most of his season. It drives me nuts. Dale, take it away.
Kyle Busch figured out a long time ago that when you make headlines, sponsors like you, no matter what you say, right? Obviously, with M&M's going away, after this year, I'm that young Ty Gibbs kid. He's coming. I think we all know he's coming, and I think Kyle Busch has figured out he needs to figure out how to maintain a seat, right? Like money talks, and
Dale, this has been way before Ty Gibbs ever came on. He's been an asshole for 10 years. Now, Adam, you're right, and you've often said the exact same thing Dale says, no press is bad press, just spell my name right. I mean, I've heard you say that a ton of times. So, but look at it from the sanctioning body, okay? They're trying something major. I think the race has been amazing. Have you seen any of the races, Dale? I mean, I think the fact that guys who shouldn't be winning are now winning, that probably pisses Kyle off, but it shows me, like, I think this car is what we've needed in NASCAR for a long time. I'm a huge fan of it. Dale?
Yeah.
I've never been a huge looks guy in racing. I don't really, it goes back to the flashy thing. I don't really usually care what my car looks like. I don't think they're the prettiest cars ever to look at, but the racing's been phenomenal. Like Auto Club was awesome. Daytona, a lot better than the last couple of 500s. The LA Coliseum thing, that was a lot of fun, and Vegas blew me away with how good of a race that was. I don't get to watch every lap, but I watch chunks of it. I am a huge fan of the cars so far, and when I say a huge fan of the car, I'm a huge fan of the product it's put on the racetrack. The fact that guys can run side by side, like that green white checkered finish with Larson and Bowman on the weekend, that would have never happened in the last 10 years. So I'm a massive fan of the physical car, the aerodynamics, the physics behind it, what NASCAR has done. A+ in my books.
But hold on, Adam. I just got a question for Dale. But Dale, as a low budget racer, as you classify yourself, this car is built for guys like you. You know what I mean? Like everybody has the same parts and can do the same amount of research, which is none. You get to put it together. You have the exact same pieces as the Hendrick guy. I mean, to me and my family, we were the same. We were always on the bottom end of the well spectrum when it came to the pits, and we were out there having fun. So I love this new plan. As a sanctioning body, man, Kyle Busch has got to be a thorn in their side.
I completely agree with you. Go ahead, Adam.
Go ahead. You made some good points, Clint. It's refreshing because you're usually just full of shit. It used to be, and again, I want Dale to be on for this. So there's always been teams that were better. Jeff Gordon with Ray Evernham, Jimmy Johnson with Chad Knaus, Dale Earnhardt, who had a number of different crew chiefs, Darrell Waltrip with Junior Johnson, and so on and so on. There are probably 25 drivers in NASCAR that if you give them the best car week in and week out, they're going to win races.
Might even be more than 25.
Quite possibly. And yeah. I'm not like Jimmy Johnson deserved all those accolades, but when he was winning all those races, he had the best stuff out there. Same with Jeff Gordon, same with Dale Earnhardt, same with Kyle Busch for all these years. What you're seeing right now, and this is what I love about it, you're seeing the racer that's hungry. You're seeing the racers that'll dig. Like Eric Jones, he's been solid top 10 all season long. Cars that aren't normal. Trackhouse Racing, Daniel Suarez. Yeah, I don't like Ross Chastain, and I don't know why. Like, I have no reason to not. I'm just not a fan, but I love seeing what he's doing. And Dale, that's what I want to watch. Like I don't care how talented you are a hungry racer, and it's fun to watch because when the money's on the line, if you still have a horse in the race, you're going to do things with it.
And when I make the comparison to, and I wouldn't call us low budget racers, we're just frugal. That's the word I like to use, is frugal.
Yeah.
I compare, the whole next gen, whatever they call their car they got now, to the crate motor program for our pro late model stuff. We've had conversations in my shop that if the crate motor didn't come along, I might never have got into the late model program because we wouldn't have been able to afford for Dad and I to both do it. I'm a huge fan of, like you said, Jones, Stenhouse, the Trackhouse guys. But one common denominator with all those names you named off, Jimmy Johnson, the Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham, they had the biggest budgets. Like you look back on it, they spent the most money. And I listened to some podcasts as well where they talk about the things that those teams did back in the day. And there's a reason why they ran so good, because they lived at the racetrack. And I feel like this new car was, and then NASCAR has their testing policy now, which even helps the low budget teams even more with the new car. A plus. I compare it to our great motor program, Pro Late Model Racing, and the product so far this year has been phenomenal.
And absolutely. And Kyle Busch, sorry, Clinton, I'll say this one thing and shut up. Kyle Busch drove his car straight into the wall and then back through the field. It's like successfully. You couldn't have done that in last year's car. These cars take a tough knock, and you can still go out there and race them.
Which blows me away because of the amount of aluminum that's used on these cars to fabricate parts. Like when I seen some of the close-up photos you see on Twitter from different people and stuff like that, you look at those things and they look scary light. But like you said, the amount of contact those guys can make and keep racing, absolutely phenomenal. I almost do not have, I know there's people complaining about the whole flat tire stuck on the track thing, but if you get rid of that, I don't even have a complaint for this year, like A+ NASCAR.
Right on, Dale. Thanks for coming on the show. We got to move on. We'll be looking forward to you live on G-Force TV all summer long as our APC Late Model Series kicks off. Dale, when you get your big announcement, send us a message. Come back. Give it to us for sure. We definitely want to hear it. We appreciate your time, Dale.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one tonight.
Cheers.
Dale Shaw, one of the good guys. And just to mention what Dale said there at the end, they did fix that tire issue because they got that fixed. Clint Boyer was talking about it during the race. They were actually able to drive them back to the pits this week. So NASCAR probably took some action there. We're good.
Yep.
We got Bruce ready to jump on, but let's jump into our quick wit trivia question. Our quick wit trivia question. We already
Stop
changed
it.
the name.
No. Fly into it. Don't ease into it. Fly into it.
The quick wit trivia question. There you go. It is
Yeah.
speed, eh? It's like passing through the archway. If you look at the arches, you're going to smash it. Just go for it.
You've got to commit.
This week's quick wit trivia question comes from the Pinty's Knights of Thunder 360 series. How many top 5 finishes did Jordan Poirier capture en route to his first Pinty's Knights of Thunder championship in 2021? I actually put 22 on there, Spencer. How many top 5 finishes did Jordan Poirier capture en route to his first Pinty's Knights of Thunder championship last season? It's out there on the web. You can find it if you know where to look. And if you have those correct numbers, come back to us, comment here on the Facebook or in our live stream on YouTube, and we will hook you up with Dave Lloyd and get you a quick prize pack. Let's bring on Bruce Mellenbach, Adam.
Oh, he is here. I didn't see him in the box, so I was going to kill some time, but this is quality time killing. DJ Christie is here. He's throwing in some comments. One of my favorite pictures from a race shop this offseason was Jay Christie sitting in the race shop watching The Bachelor on TV. Like, not working on race cars, not getting his hands dirty, tuned into The Bachelor.
Bruce is going to join us here, but I got to just throw up a quick ad. Let's talk about Jibs, Adam. They do a lot of good stuff for us. They have a sale going on right now, Spencer. If you can throw that up. The Jibs spring sale is on right now. Go to jibs.com, jibsactionsports.com. Check it out. And you can also find them on Instagram. Look for the Jibsgram account. Have you checked out the Jibs winter sale? All kinds of great stuff. Huge savings on completes, parts, and more. Go to jibsactionsports.com. Whether you skate, scoot, or BMX, Mark and the crew down there have you covered. Great supporters of all things here, Ontario Racing, and us here on Rivalz and G-Force. Bruce Mellenbach coming to the program. Bruce put up a post, and Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So I'll tell you how we got a hold of Bruce, Adam. Bruce posted condolences of one of his friends who passed away. Show that picture if you can, Spencer, on Facebook. It was about 2 months ago, I think it was, or a month and a bit ago, January 19th. Bruce said, "We lost a good one today, Steve Stubbs. Met Steve for the first time in the 80s as he was managing Cayuga and working with the ASA. They were friends over the years and worked in motorsports projects. And then Steve went on to write a book. And Bruce, you got to fill me in on this a bit more. Show the book, Spencer. That was the other picture I sent you. It would have been How to Operate a Speedway. And we're just waiting for the picture. There it is. A Profitable Racetrack Operation. And it was a book by Steven here. And it's a guidebook, Adam. It's classic. And I just said, Bruce emailed it to me yesterday. I started reading it, and I said, man, it'd be great to have you on. The other thing we want to mention while we got Bruce here is a drag racing show coming up. Throw that one up, Spencer, and then we'll get into Bruce. Then we can take care of all the business at once. Bruce's buddies here are having a Drag Strip Memories show. It's returning, and it'll be Sunday, April 10th. And we're going to have someone on from that show coming up, too, to talk a little bit about that as we get closer to it. So thanks, Bruce, for joining us. Adam, take it away. You've known Bruce for a long time.
I got lots of stories for you guys.
We need it.
You know, you start with any of them, Bruce, but I'm going to start with one, and I'm a little disappointed in this, because as I sit here and I look at Clint on camera and I look at myself, we have gotten old. You were old when we broke into this business, or you seemed like you were grown up when we broke into this business. You look exactly the same as you did, and that's been, what, 25, 30 years. So I'd kind of like to know what the secret is.
Yeah, well, boys, it's probably a lot longer than that. When I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of how things came about. My grandfather bought what is Dragway Park, or Cayuga Dragway, after the Second World War. It was a training base, and we started racing there drag racing in 1954. And in 1971, my dad and my grandfather went through so many promoters that would come in for the season and not pay the bills and not pay the rental fee. And my dad and mom sat, my brothers and sisters, there were 6 of us, around the kitchen table in 1971. And they said, Bruce, you're going to be track manager. Barb, you're going to look after the souvenirs. My brother Bill, who you guys know, you're going to be the announcer. Andrew, you're going to look after the concessions. Kelly, he wasn't old enough to do anything. He just ate hot dogs and hamburgers. So we started it real early. And I've been in it a long time. I've been lucky, guys, because I've always enjoyed going to work. I've always enjoyed going to work. And we ran the drag strip until 1984. And Bob Slack called me in between Christmas and New Year's. He said, what are you doing? I said, not very much. And we always worked pretty closely between Dragway Park and Cayuga Speedway. There was a lot of weekends, and we're only 3 miles apart probably. And there was a lot of weekends where Cayuga, the Speedway was packed and Dragway Park was packed. And so I knew Bob really well. He said, come on to work for me. That was in the mid 80s. That was the heyday. That's when we had Molson's money and Budweiser money and cigarette money. There was many years that Bob and I did almost $1 million in sponsorship a year. And we had some really good times.
Wow. Now, is that $1 million between both facilities or just at Cayuga?
No, that was just at the Speedway. I mean, we got. Yeah. I came on board when Molson's first came on board at Cayuga with Dizzy Dean, and I can't remember exactly how many years. I mean, they put a lot of money in there, and the players spent crazy money. And GM, that's when they did the Players GM series, when I got to know the Lapsoviches, which you know we all know too, and I got some good stories about them. But yeah, we did a lot of money, but it was still difficult to pay the bills. I mean, it's a tough racket. It really is. And that blends into one of my stories. One of my favorite stories of all time was Dale Earnhardt Sr. It was 1990, and we booked Dale in for the Molson Export 400. It was a couple weeks before the race, and my phone rang in the Caledonia office. I answered the phone, and this voice said, "Is this Mellenbacher?" And I went, "Yes, sir." "Who's this?" He says, "This is Earnhardt." And it was Dale Sr. Dale said to me, he said, "You always dealt with my agent, his name was Benny Ertel, and Benny had some family problems. And Earnhardt said to me, he said, if it's okay with you, we got to deal direct on this deal. Is that okay?" And I go, "Hell yeah, I can deal with you, Dale." And I got to say, he was one of the most gentle people that I've ever dealt with. And the plan is he was going to fly. He was running the IROC race at Michigan International Speedway, and he was supposed to run it. He was in the run for the championship. He was going to finish that off on Saturday night, fly to Mount Hope. I was going to pick him up at the airport and bring him in. We're going to put him in we had a Randy Slack ASA car, and he was going to run the ASA race. And that was back when Steve Stubbs was a PR guy for ASA. So anyway, Saturday afternoon, the phone rings, and he get it again. Hey, Mellenbach, it's Earnhardt. I go, what's going on, Dale? He said, I got rained out on Saturday. He says, I can't come till Sunday. He said, I'll call you when I'm leaving Michigan in the morning. You pick me up at Mount Hope Airport, and we'll get over and try to run the race in time. So I said, yeah, no problem. So I thought, we're going to be short of time, so I better try to book a helicopter. So I booked a helicopter at Mount Hope Airport. And Dale called me. He said, Teresa and I are way up. So I drove over to Mount Hope Airport. I was waiting on the runway. His little plane comes down, and off the plane comes Dale. He's got his GM Goodwrench suit on. He's got Teresa on one arm, and he's got his helmet and those goofy goggles in the other. What I didn't tell you, it was a terrible day. It was overcast. We hopped in the helicopter. The helicopter pilot said, you know what? We really shouldn't be flying this baby today. And I went, well, we got to get to Hugo like real fast because the race is going to start in like 5 minutes. So off we went. We flew for 10 or 15 minutes, I guess. And the buddy that was flying the airplane or the helicopter, he says, Hugo Speedway is right below us. I go, well, that's cool. Get us down there because we got to get this guy in a race car. So anyway, he drops down. He broke through the clouds and everything, and the place is packed to the tits, right? And the place is going nuts because they all know Dale's in this helicopter. So the helicopter pilot drops this thing right in the little mini stock track, right at the start finish line. Dale hops out of the helicopter. He says, take Teresa, take care of her. He says, I got to get in the race car. I mean, ASA wanted to get going, right? So Dale hopped in the car, did like, I don't know how many laps, 8 laps or whatever, ran the thing into a pole at the backside of the track. And that was the end of his day. But anyway, it was quite an experience with the old guy.
Man, oh man. I could listen to this stuff, Clint, for days. Just
I could tell you for days. And then what happened after that? I mean, this was before cell phones probably. And Dale wrecks his car, and he goes to the pit tower where Brock and all those guys were. And he calls me in the tower, and he says, can you get me on the other side? He said, I want to come over and sign autographs. So I went up to the control tower where Rex Robbins is, and I go, Rex, I need a caution. He goes, what for? I said, I got to get Earnhardt over to this side. And you know what? None of these sanctioning bodies were too hip on these superstars coming in. And Rex says, I ain't throwing a caution. I said, well, you got two choices. Either you throw a caution or I'm throwing a caution. So anyway, he looked at me. He throws a caution, a NASCAR caution, I guess you'd call it. And we got Dale over to the other side, and he sat there for hours signing people's autographs. Took him back to the airport. At the end of the day, gave a load of American cash. And, I can't remember how much we paid him. But anyway, he did okay. And it was a really enjoyable experience.
Bruce, you talk about, almost $1 million back in 80. That's 40 years ago. I mean, Oshweekend's probably one of the tightest sales deals going on now. I think our best year in the last 10 was close to 200. So it's crazy how the money's changed in the sport. What's going on with the sport, Bruce? A lot of topic about this has been, are we in a good spot? Are we resurging? You're watching from the outside, still got your fingers in a little bit. What's your thoughts on where we stand coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think people are going to want to get back out to the racetracks, but they got to get back out. You just can't, like you guys were talking earlier, you just can't sit around and wonder why, the place is drying up when you're not out there supporting them. But we're in a tough time right now too. I like to think that it's going to be good, but the price of gas and the price of everything has gone up other than what you're making an hour. So it's going to be difficult, but all we can do is hang in there and just keep trying, just keep showing good entertainment. just good entertainment. You know what? I watched that crazy race down in California a few weeks ago. And you know what? The people, you can be critical of the deal, or you can say whatever you want about it, but the people that were there had a good time. And you know what? They were in there and out of there in a couple hours. And I think those are the things you got to do. I learned a lot from going to truck and tractor pulls and at the Sky Dome and stuff. And you know what? They would put you in there and get you out of there in 3 hours. You got to get them in, entertain them. And Tom Curley and Rex Robbins and Dizzy Dean and all these guys. I mean, they're experts at that. And I think I got a call from Roger Slack a few weeks ago because Roger and our friend Steve were close. And Roger goes, whatever happened to all the commercials that were for the Speedway? Did they go up in the fire in Caledonia? And I said, as a matter of fact, I got them in my other room here. And Roger is taking stuff from the Molson Export 200 and 300 commercials and using it now at Eldora. So, I mean, it's got to tell you something that we've got to look back and look at some of these things and maybe not trying to reinvent the wheel, just go backwards a little bit. I mean, I hope it's good. I love the sport. I sort of went away from it for the last 5 years, and man, I miss it. But anyway, let's hope it gets better.
Well, Bruce, I think you just guaranteed to us that Clint and I are going to have to work pretty hard to make sure we get you on as a monthly guest to come in and share stories. 'Cause there's just something special about that era of racing where you can tell those stories, and not everything was lived through a microscope of social media. It's these stories told by people who were there that keeps people excited.
Yeah, well, you know what? I got Bobby and Davey Allison stories. I got stories about Don Prudhomme. I got stories about Linda Vaughn. I got stories about Shirley Muldowney. I got a quick story about the Lapsoviches. I mean, I got to know Joe and Joe Jr. and Jimmy and Jeff for a long time. They ran in the Players GM series. And it was back in I can't remember exactly why I did it, but I come up with this brainwave, and it was when our friend Sonia McPhail worked for me, and so we decided we were going to invent an automotive flea market and car show. So I had enough money packed away that I could pay her for a year, and I hired a couple other people. And what we did is we put them on the road, and they went to Stelco, they went to Nanticoke, they went all over all summer, selling ticket packages and program packages. And this was going to be our end all be all deal. And we copied it off of Barry. And so anyway, it was rolling along really, really well. And things were going well until the Tuesday before the event. The event was in 2011, and the event was September the 15th. And 9/11 happened, and there was absolutely nobody came to this deal. So anyway, Sonia knew that she was screwed, right? Like I just blew every dime I had. So anyway, we had a lot of beer back in the back, ice cold beer and Burt Brothers trailers, I gotta tell you. And Sonia and I are walking back to have a couple beers, and she goes, I guess Monday's my last day, eh? I go, yeah, probably, but let's not worry about it. Jimmy Lapsovich walks up to us and he says, you guys got any time on your hands? And that's when we went to work with the Lapsoviches, and we had a really, really successful run with them. Jeff won a lot of races, and Jimmy won one race, and you guys all know that Sonia was the PR queen at those races. Yep. We got a lot of good stuff.
Yep.
But anyway,
I'm those were good. I miss her a lot. You had a good team there.
Yeah, Bruce, I got a question for you. You know, there's a hot debate, and it happens here on this show a few times a year, where the discussion about bringing superstars into your events, should you be paying an outside event to come in? I mean, our buddy Chaz is big against this, or should you be putting more money into your local guys? I'm a big proponent of bringing in the superstar because it brings in those fringe fans who maybe have never discovered your place, but they're going to come out. What's your opinion on that? You obviously did it a lot, so you've had a lot of experience with it. It's something we're trying to do at Oshweek and Yearly. Thoughts?
Well, we did the specials. That's when I went to work for Bob Slack. When I went to work for Bob Slack, he had the Molson Export, or the Molson 200 in June and the Molson 300 in August. And I mean, we spent, and guys, that's how we come up with all the sponsorship money. We weren't worried about fixing the toilets or cleaning the toilets or ordering hot dogs. We spent all year getting ready for that big show. And Bob would tell me, he would say, we're not doing any more shows until we sell these babies out. And I mean, we were selling reserve tickets. We were doing, one of the things that we were doing too, we were doing direct mail. I mean, there was no websites or no internet or none of this stuff. It was all direct mail. We would send out the full colored brochure and start selling tickets from our Caledonia office. So to be honest with you, I'm a big proponent but that's the generation that I lived in. Another interesting story was when I had, I don't know what it was, probably 1992. I had two guys walk into my office at Caledonia, and they were from Freelton, from over by Flamborough. That's where they had the concerts over there, right? And they were running into problems, and they weren't going to be able to hold the concert over there, so they wanted to come to Cayuga. And I said, well, you know what, guys, Bob Slack is never ever going to do this. This is just out of his. He likes a nice, clean, nice, clean deals. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, the guy said, well, there's got to be some way we can pull this deal off. And I said, I'll tell you what, you bring me $25,000 in cash in a bag by the weekend, and we'll talk turkey. But until then, I'm not even going to go and talk to Bob about this. Well, it was Friday afternoon, about 4:00. The boys walked in my office, threw a bag on the table. I looked at the bag. I go, how much cash is in here? They said 25,000. So I took the bag of money next door into Bob's office. I threw it on his desk. And he says, he looks in the bag and he says, how much money's in here? I said 25,000. He says, I guess we're in the concert business. So he said, and they were very
awesome.
Successful too, And there's so many stories. I mean, those were like sitting on a hand grenade, right? But I mean, there was another special deal that we did. We had a concert. We filled the place with kids, and we'd show them a CASCAR race, right? And hopefully they would come back and watch another race. So anyway,
the rock and race weekends.
Rock and
awesome,
race weekends.
Bruce.
Yeah, there's something else.
We're definitely going to have you back, Bruce. Can we call on you in a few more weeks to come back and tell us a few more of these gems?
Yeah, anytime else. You've had me thinking the last couple of days. I got a couple notepads full of them. So it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure sharing some of our good times with you.
I think we need a proper sit down, maybe just an hour with Bruce and
I was just going to say, it'd be great to get into a set, have a couple of beers set aside, Clint, and just tell stories.
Yeah, I didn't even hardly give you guys a chance to ask any questions. So you didn't ask me about ISA or CASCAR or any of that
we'll get
stuff, right?
We'll get to all those things. We'll get to that one day at a time, but we're going to talk to you soon, Bruce. Thanks so much for taking time to hang out with us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys. Nice to see you. Nice talking to you.
Bruce, what are you involved in now? Is there anything you're promoting, anything you want to give a plug to? What should we be helping you push on your end now?
Well, I'm trying to dabble back into the pro modified deal again, and I've got a couple events we're doing in Rochester area with the Northeast group. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I got put out of business 5 years ago by a couple guys that figured they could do the deal better than me, and they had a lot of money. And bottom line, they won, but they didn't. I mean, it's hurting now. So I'm dabbling, trying to get back into it. But other than that, I'm just hanging out with guys like you.
Right on, Bruce. We'll be in touch. Thanks for stopping by Rivalz Race Chat. And in a week or two, we're definitely having you back because we need more of these gems.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'll start marking them down, eh?
Perfect.
Please.
Thanks, Bruce. Adam, I think, some weeks we get 2 guests and we can't get 10 words out of them. We had 2 awesome guests tonight. And these are the nights when we wish we had a 4-hour show to just keep it going. Bruce has been around a long time, seen the golden years, and, You know, we always talk if we could live back to those days, what we could see and do again.
It's so true, but you know what? It's how it is. You know, you chase that high. I asked Dale for a reason what he thought was the best time in racing, and I thought for sure he was going to talk about being a kid and watching his dad and his grandfather race. That's my best time. My best time is what Bruce is talking about, the mid 80s at Cayuga Speedway. Being a kid, sitting on one of the bulldozers on the inside of the backstretch while my dad was working the backstretch pit exit, and I'd sit on the loader and watch the race. I mean, man, those were magical times.
For sure.
It can't be that way today. Like we're in the middle of it, but hopefully we're making those magic times for.
You know, it takes me back to
Younger people.
2019 at one of our big live TV events, and I remember telling the race teams at the drivers' meeting, you know, remember these times. You know, we all had our dads tell us about the golden years. These are our golden years right now. Car counts are up. We're on TV, packed houses. You know what I mean? Remember these times, guys, because these are the days you're going to tell your kids about 20, 30 years from now. So that was our message back to them. Let's take care of a bit more business we've got going on. Of course, we have a new association with Fast Eddie Racewear.com for all your Fast Eddie Racewear.com stuff. Go over there and check it out. FastEddieSpeedwear.com. You can check out their new branding. They've got all kinds of great apparel, t-shirts, hats for men's, ladies, kids, everything you might want to get out there. Check them out. It's FastEddieSpeedwear.com. And we want to thank them for joining us as well. While we're on it, let's talk about a couple of things. Tom's Repairs. Tom has his trailer repair business, of course. Tommy Beal's out there working on that. Single axle, dual, or tri-axle. I'm struggling tonight. Whether it's got 10-inch, 12-inch brakes, or whether it's large, small, or tows them all, Tommy will fix you up. Call Tom Beals and make sure you're certified and ready to go so you don't have Ministry of Transportation troubles trying to get to the racetrack. While we're at it, of course, the Canadian Dirt Racing Academy. We'll get it all out the way, Adam. 2 weeks
for sure.
2 weeks of track time at Humberstone Speedway if you're a modified or sportsman driver, April 16th and 17th, featuring Matt and Randy Williamson from Bicknell Racing Products to help you get on the fast track with lots of time. The following week, it'll be the sprint car version of the Canadian Dirt Racing Academy at Humberstone Speedway, featuring Jordan Poirier and Kevin Loveys from Glenn Steyer's Racing to help you, again, get on the fast track and make it happen. Had to get all of it away. What do you want to say, Adam?
No,
we got a
it's all
couple
good.
topics left.
No, I thought you were going to segue into the Burger Barn video of the week because we were talking about the magic days of racing. You know, what's your heyday?
Yeah.
What's your best time? And I'm pretty sure what we see from the Burger Barn video of the week illustrates what someone is going to see as their best times in racing.
First off, let's mention DJ Christie and Gary Calling. You are the winning answer this week, so you guys will get your first ever quick prize pack. Email Dave Lloyd at dave@quickwick.com for your prize pack, and we'll make sure Dave knows who to take care of. Thanks, guys, for participating in the Quick Wit Challenge. See, I'm getting there. Is it safe, Adam? We have a couple of videos left. So, is it safe? That's one thing, but we'll get to that. First off, you mentioned the Burger Barn video of the week. This is super cool. Kids in the pits, and one mom seen the cars lined up and just let the kids go at it, fist bumping everybody down the line. Show it, Spencer. This is heartwarming. These two little guys make their way down, high-five and a fist bump in the entire field, Adam. And
I like that.
They get it, you know.
Yep. I like that the kids looked over their shoulder after the first one to make sure whoever's holding the camera, I'm going to hope it's a caregiver, a dad, or a mom. Say, hey, can we keep on going? There's T-Mac, I think.
Yep. He didn't want to leave T-Mac.
No.
But yeah, this is cool. Just a heartwarming story. Shows the drivers get it. And it's a lesson to the drivers, too. Remember, you know, someone was your hero. You're someone's hero, too. So act with class and carry yourself properly.
Yeah. Your worst day at the racetrack is still someone's best day, right?
Yep. All right. This
Oh, yeah.
is another one, Adam. This week's Is It Safe? This is another video that came across our coffers this week. Show it out there, Spencer. Little sprint car on the dyno. Pretty cool. They can self-start dyno. what drew me into it first off is, should he not be wearing safety gear? You can turn it down, Spencer. Should he not be wearing safety gear, Adam? Like, that was my thing. Show it again, Spencer, but mute it if you can. So, and that was my thought. Adam, you wrote back, yeah, as if those straps are going to hold a shopping cart in a Walmart parking lot. It just seems utterly dangerous on so many levels. And that's a good question for discussion. I see so many sprint car drivers push off their car, and it's one thing when it's rolling, you should at least be wearing a helmet and some fire gear, man, because anything can happen. I've seen nozzles come off. I've seen, like, you're right there on top of the motor. It's just foolish not to have your gear on every time you push or start that car. That's a whole nother level, Adam, because it's running and it's strapped, and if those straps break, your thoughts on that video? Show one more time, Spencer,
man.
and let him give his thoughts. I was just, I wasn't even looking at the
If
straps
that,
when I
so
saw it.
it's if you've ever seen those hot dogs at a gas station, they're sitting on little rollers, and the rollers
Yeah.
keep turning the hot dogs, and that's what that sprint car's on, is little rollers. If one of those rollers jams, those rear tires traveling at about 60 or 80 miles an hour are going to take off through the front of that trailer, and that little ratchet strap is not going to do much to stop it. So,
well, you got to think about it, Adam. The
either-
speed, though. The speed. So we've seen 360 sprint cars at the end of the back straight, we can go 135 miles an hour. So it's double that, what you said, which is even more insane. 175 kilometers an hour is what they're spinning at the top end,
I remember back in the day, back in I think 98 it was, I moved down to Mooresville, North Carolina for 6 weeks of my life. And I worked down there for a company called Kemmler that made seat padding. But we were down in, what the hell do they call it? Gasoline Alley? Where right across the street was an engine builder. And you should have heard when they did pulls on the dyno down there, Clinton. It shook the town. Listening to these things just rip on the dyno.
Yeah, crazy. If you've ever heard it, it just screams for sure. One other story on the list, and then we'll wrap it up. This is Parks and Rec Racing. Kudos to the city of Fulton, Adam. Show the post, Spencer. Local iRacers, now's your chance to join the City of Fulton iRacing Cup Series and be the first, quote, municipal racing champion in the USA. I love this idea. Race the NASCAR Monster Energy cars on Wednesday nights to see if you have what it takes to be Fulton's digital racing champion. All iRacers will be eligible to win a $75 Visa gift card at the end of the year for perfect attendance, and there are 3 chances to win. This is thanks to Compass Credit Union. Free to sign up, but you must have an iRacing subscription. Show the other logo, Spencer, if you can. So this is cool, Adam. The city got in, recognized that obviously Fulton is a big racing city, with Fulton Speedway right there, also close to Oswego. And I think this is awesome that the city is partnering up with some of the racetracks and racing folks to give the kids a virtual racing municipal champion. Kind of neat.
Yeah, I'd like to know who's behind it. It is really cool. Like, imagine the township of Grimsby doing something like this. It's just it just shows the difference. I've always been one to say, hey, States, Canada, I've lived in both. Like, we've been around both. It's all the same. But in the US, there is just a little bit different connection to motorsports than there is up here.
Yeah, a couple of things I want to touch upon, Adam, that we want to be going on. Next week, I want to get Cam Harris on to talk about the Pinty's 100 coming up at Busch Week. And Cam is probably the one guy out promoting the Pinty Series harder than anybody. And Cam, I want to put together a virtual roster for the upcoming Pinty's 100 at Busch Week in Speedway. We already know we got Stuart Friesen. Dave Bailey came out last week. Glenn Stires will obviously be there in his 0 car. Let's see what kind of roster we can build here week to week and see who can come up. So let's get Cam on the show next week to talk about that. While we're on the topic of Busch Week, and Adam, I spent the day out there today dealing with new sponsors. I got sponsor dealings coming up on Thursday, which means we're getting back to racing at Busch Week, which is super exciting. Lots of meetings going on. We had a driver engine builder symposium last night to talk about crate sprint car rules as that continues to expand out. And I had a great meeting today with John Lowenberg and Mike and Nick, his new partners, and they just bought Slack Lumber, which is super cool. A 74-year-old business. These youngsters are going at it, and they recognized what racing can do for them and came to us and said, hey, how can we get involved? John Lowenberg, obviously, and his brother Jimmy been around a long time, but John gets it and brought the partners in. Like, we gave them a whole presentation and a tour day, so it's just great to see them working it out and something really cool.
Awesome.
So good luck to the guys at Slack. You're going to see more of a Slack lumber presence out with us, and it kind of ties into Bruce talking about Bob Slack and all the other family members out there. So what a great show we had today. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's good. I'm not going to bullshit you. Some weeks I dread this around 6 o'clock. We're like, oh, it's show day. But by the end, I always feel recharged, excited, ready to go, and pumped up to get back racing. And I think that's because the viewers and guests we have with us help turn things around for us. So we thank you for that.
It's infectious. There's a lot of, even though we complain about things, there's a lot of positivity in this hour because everyone who's here loves the sport, loves the lifestyle, feels good to be around that, and that's, I can't wait.
I just want to rebut one thing Don Martin commented earlier. He said, I was bashing the sport. I'm certainly not trying to bash the sport. I think, I do bash Kyle Busch at every chance I get. I will say that. But I think the sport, we need the love and just we worry because we care, I guess we can say,
I'll pay $50 to go watch a NASCAR race and hope that Kyle Busch doesn't win. And that'll be part of my parameter going to that race. If Kyle Busch has a lousy day, that makes me feel good. And I know he probably won't. He'll probably do well, but you've got that checklist. I hope my driver wins. I hope the driver I really don't cheer for doesn't win, and on down the list.
It was funny. So, my last story I got for you, I went to Bristol, I don't know, 2019, I think it was. Went to Bristol, and I was with Dean and Debbie, and we're down there partying with Christy and having a great time. And all weekend long, we just basically shit talked like everybody who walked by with the Kyle Busch outfit on, like kids out there walking by the suit, like that's child abuse. It was just, and then who did we draw in the Pinty's pool? Kyle Busch. So what did we spend all afternoon doing? Rooting for Candyman to try and win $300, which is a little bit ironic, but you do what you do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So much fun.
I just seen Bill Grisdale just signed on. Another great guy we got to get on this show. So we got all our viewers. We got to get on this show. So thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to let you go now. Adam, I love your new set, buddy.
I love my set too. It's cozy in here. Decker, come here, bud. What are you doing? We've been on the air. Come here.
He's like,
get up.
You took away my chair. I don't need you guys no more.
Decker, say hi. There he is. There's Decker. Talking to the camera or into the microphone, buddy. Hey, that's what I meant to ask you. Did you happen to open the door to the announcer's tower while you were there at the racetrack?
Not today, but I can when I'm back Thursday.
Like, has it been opened in the last 2 years?
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's open and clean. And we all last summer we were in there because we ran all new transponder lines, and it's all been tested. Timing and scoring is all ready to go. It was all rebuilt when we put in the concrete wall last year. So I can tell you, Adam, the VIP suites are booming. The first 2 floors are up. Glenn's new extension on the backside of his house is up. There is crazy construction going on there. The new go-kart footings have been poured. The new barn's going up for the storage. There's probably 4 to 5 new buildings that people have never seen at Rush Weekend. Definitely going to change the footprint. We'd love to have you back. And to answer one question earlier in the day, and then we'll let it go. Gary Short wrote, hey, Clinton, if I have race tickets and came for the Pinty's 100 Rush Weekend I bought the day they went on sale, December 2019, are they still good to use? Absolutely they are. Contact us for any questions. Let's go, Adam. I got to go try and eat some ice cream because that's all I can seem to get into me today.
Sounds good, buddy.
See you guys. Have a good night. Thank you.